Well, welcome here to Thorpe Creek Private Shooting Range and the beautiful but very, very rainy Ozark Mountains. You'll notice that you're joining me here in a somewhat different venue. It's because I'm inside here at the office here at the creek, and I'm inside because the inclement weather demands I be here. So as is definitely the modus operandi for coffee at the creek, inclement weather, and that inclement weather is a lot of rain, and that's okay. We need it. We need the rain, and you might even be able to hear it in the background. You know, of course, the building here is all metal, and so when it's pouring rain, we get a pretty good it gets going on pretty good, and it's pretty loud, and you can hear the thunder and the lightning and all that. So, we just had a lot going on here at the creek, and that is why I have to apologize for this episode being late. Um, I'll make it up to you. I can't say I'll make it up to you in content for sure, but I'll get another episode out here shortly. And we've just been busy. We've had um, we've had some concrete and construction, a lot of concrete being poured. We've had a lot of other things going on, and I'm just behind. I'm catching up. Real estate's been busy. Real estate's been swamped. We've had classes here. In fact, I'm talking to you today. It's the end of April, and here in just a couple of days, we've got a CCW class first weekend in May, and that class is nearly full. It'll probably be the biggest class we've had out here, at least this year. So yeah, it's just been really busy, and I'm catching up though. I'm getting there. So uh, as we are inside, I'm not smoking because we don't allow smoking in here. But I had planned on having an absolutely fantastic. This guy. This is by Room 101. This is a Johnny Tobacco, and I thought this was just kind of a kitschy stogie. Uh, but Kevin over at Embers introduced me to it, and it's quickly become one of my favorites. It's an easy, kind of buttery, sweet, light, quick smoke, and it's quickly become one of my favorites. I am a really big fan of Room 101 cigars. In fact, probably in my top three right now, which is a moving target, of course, is the farce. And the reason that I like the farce from Room 101 is because they have it in a true Corona, and I really really enjoy that size of cigar, the Corona. But hardly anybody makes it anymore. Everybody's gone to Gordos and Toros, these big ring gauge cigars, and they're just not. It's just not. I'm old school, man. I'm old school, and that's just not my thing. Um, I really like. I don't mind a robusto because that's kind of a quick smoke, but then you get a Toro and it just takes forever. And I like a good Corona, and so they make that farce in a Corona, and I really enjoy it. It's what got me into Room 101 cigars, and Johnny Tobacco is probably one of my favorites. So if you get a chance to have one, check it out. They've got them down there at Embers, downtown Hollister on Downing Street. Grab you one, you won't be disappointed. I'll talk a little bit about coffee. You can watch some of the previous videos. If you go back a few videos, I did kind of an in scene, and I showed you how I make cowboy coffee. So you can check that out. This is cowboy coffee, and it's specifically blued and berried from Death Wish Coffee Company. This is kind of my last iteration of the blued and berried, and I like blued and berried. And as I kind of thought, so what I've noticed is when you do cowboy coffee, it tends to bring savory part out. When you do percolator coffee, it tends to bring the sweet out. And this is definitely the vanilla coming out in this instead of the blueberry. It's definitely going to stay on my list of favorite coffees. This Blueberry is fantastic. Check it out, Death Wish Coffee Co. You won't be disappointed. It's pretty good. So next time you join me, we're going to be on my last of my top three favorite coffees. Something totally different. I will say that it has a long history, and we're going to kind of dig into that history a little bit, and talk about it. So that's cigars. That's coffee. We've been kind of on a kick, and we're going to stay on it, talking about. I like to do a little bit of. I like to have some literary content, and this is one of my favorite of Aesop's fables. And then we're going to have a little chat about Aesop's fables, and in this particular fable and the moral. This is the ape and the two travelers. Two men, one who always spoke the truth, and the other who told nothing but lies, were traveling together, and by chance came to the land of apes. One of the apes, who had raised himself to be king, commanded them to be seized and brought before him, that he might know what was said of him among men. He ordered at the same time that all the apes be arranged in a long row on his right and on his left, and that the throne be placed before him, as was the custom among men. After these preparations, he signified that the two men should be brought before him, and he greeted them with this salutation: "What sort of king do I seem to be to you, O strangers?" The lying traveler replied, "You seem to be the most mighty king. And what is your estimate of those you see around me? These," he made answer, "are worthy companions of yourself, fit at least to be ambassadors and leaders of armies." The ape and all his court, gratified with the lie, commanded that a handsome present be given to the flatterer. On this, the truthful traveler thought to himself, if so great a reward be given for a lie, with what gift may not I be rewarded, if, according to my custom, I tell the truth? The ape quickly turned to him, "And pray, how do I and these my friends around me seem to you?" "Thou art," he said, "a most excellent ape, and all these thy companions after thy example are excellent apes too." The king of the apes, enraged at hearing this truth, gave him over to the teeth and claws of his companions. What's interesting in this particular fable that I get out of it is that the man who told the truth simply told the ape he was an ape. He told him what he was. The ape did not want to hear this. It wasn't what the ape was looking for. He'd already decided what he wanted the traveler to say. And so, because it wasn't what he wanted to hear, the truthful traveler received not a gift at all. You know, we sometimes in human nature have this need to tell people what they think, what we think they want to hear, what they want to hear. We have this perception that we decide beforehand, before we answer. And we strategize for our answer to be what they want to hear because we want to make them happy. In my business, the businesses that I'm in, when it comes to what I do, firearms, real estate, development, it is a bad habit that many people never get over. You know, we want to tell people what they want to hear because it'll make them happy and they'll be happy with us, and then we feel like that makes things easier, but it's not what it does. It simply lowers us to the same level as the apes. That instinct isn't to be helpful, or it isn't even, trying to tell the truth, anything like that. The instinct is survival. And we develop this belief that survival means everyone needs to be happy with us, and that it's our job to make them happy. forbid that they would be angry with us, they would think less of us because we're so dependent on what other people think. My challenge there is to fight that urge and instead do the right thing, whether it's what they want or not. Just do the right thing. Of course, we can also make the argument of what is the right thing and how do we make that decision, but that's for another day. Always telling people what they want to hear, it's not going to get you anywhere. It's only going to create more problems. And we see it all the time. I have people come here to the range and they want something specific. They've already decided what they want out of it. Whatever that thing is, if I can't offer it, it makes me a bad person. I could just say, yeah, you can go do whatever you want, right? It's not the right thing. We have rules and they're designed to keep everybody safe, right? And I will not compromise those rules. Your comfort and enjoyment when you come to a class, or whether you're a member here and you just come here to shoot, if you come here for some type of training or you're a guest here at our range, you're going to follow the rules, the same rules that everybody follows. We are all equals here. No one gets special treatment. Everyone is the same. I have to follow the same rules that everybody follows, and I own the joint. That's just it. And so don't make that compromise, right? If you follow any of our other channels, Ken and I do a little show called The Real Estate Geeks that revolves around real estate. And I am a frequent contributor to that show from the Wall Street Journal. I pull from the Wall Street Journal and I kind of force it into the show. But that's because I love the Wall Street Journal. And I was extremely excited because the Wall Street Journal is not, I think it is probably the fairest newspaper. It is probably one of the fairest media outlets that I know of. And it does center around the economy, but there are a lot of facets to this American economy, to this society of economic freedom, and it is one of those things that makes this country great, and the Wall Street Journal reports on that. And so I was extremely excited to finally read a story in the Wall Street Journal that was kind of pro gun. It's kind of pro 2A, right? And it's about shooting ranges that are now being built around catering to folks who are not necessarily that involved with firearms, to give them a place to be comfortable and become involved with firearms and understand what firearms are and the purpose that they serve in our lives. And what it's about these complexes that are kind of welcoming in the firearms curious with various programs. And some of these complexes have really stepped it up. So they're talking about a place called called Lake Erie Arms in Milan, Ohio. And what was fascinating about this particular story is sorry, I have to get myself arranged here. You know, this isn't like a tablet. This thing takes up room, right? There's actually word on the printed page. This may be unfamiliar to some of you, but this is what a newspaper looks like, okay? And so what they're talking about here is that this range offers live music. They've got a restaurant. They have cocktail making classes. I'm not going to get into that, but they have that. Glow in the dark clay shooting. They have a league called Lethal Ladies. They've just stepped it up, and they're making it a fun trip for everybody, safe for everybody. They're giving everybody something to get involved in. I love the depth of the story as they go into all the things that are offered here and why people are interested in it. So, one of the things I wanted to read is this. They're talking to two individuals. I'm just going to give their names are Scott and Heather. If you can find this article, it's called "Ladies' Night at the Range." It was in the March 29th, 30th weekend edition of the Wall Street Journal. Here's what I want to read. Scott and Heather, here's what they had to say. We were mainly going to the Caliber Club, so the restaurant, for dinner. But Monday night kind of became our typical date night. And the socializing part of it is almost as fun as the shooting. The socializing is almost as fun as the shooting. So they joined this range. They went here and they were working on becoming proficient with firearms. They were going there and shooting regularly, and it became social for them. You know, I get where people sometimes feel intimidated with shooting ranges because they think, I don't know anything about guns. I'm not going to go to this shooting range. All these people here, come out, take a tour, get to know us, right? Our members, we have lots of members here that spouses, dad, kids, mom, uh, they kind of they formed these groups and they come out here and they enjoy shooting together. We have folks that they're the whole family is a member, but it's really a particular member of the family that enjoys shooting, and it's not always the male in this situation, right? It doesn't have to be. We have lots of great women shooters who come out here and they're fantastic, and they have a great time. And the kids come down here, right? I'm in the ed building. There's a door right here, right outside this door. It's kind of our general area that's kind of a clubhouse for our members. And the kids will sit out here on the TV and watch movies. We got a big flat screen out here, and they watch movies and somebody's shooting, and it gives them something to do. Um, Come out and they hang around the fire pit. This winter, we had a lot of folks hanging around the fire pit, had a fire going. They were hanging out, chatting, whatever, shooting's going on. We encourage that. We want you to come here. We want you to feel comfortable. And I look at this story, and it's every shooting range, by and large, that has a membership component to it. They want to put a range together that's fun and enjoyable, and everybody can come out and practice their proficiency with firearms. If you want private training, call us up. We've got plenty of instructors, myself included, that will provide you with private training. If you've never fired a weapon before, right? If you never fired a firearm before, never been involved with that, never been around handguns or rifles or shotguns, whatever, call us up. We'll bring you out here. We'll give you a little training session. We'll show you what it's all about. That's what we do. We want folks to be more involved and to understand what's going on with firearms and why it's important. Um, I think that's a big deal. I think it's a big deal that our friends at the Wall Street Journal are writing about it now. That it's become newsworthy, national newsworthy for the Wall Street Journal, and it is big business too, right? Like there's lots of shooting ranges out there, and we're all changing, we're all adapting, and we want more people to be involved in it. And I can tell you, by and large, the folks that are members here, some of the nicest people you'll ever meet. So that's our episode for today. I'm going to get another episode out here shortly, probably late next week, and I'll get us back on our regular schedule. I'm sure you've missed me, but don't worry. Rumors of my demise have been greatly exaggerated. We're still here, and look, it's a good thing. We're just busy. There's just been a lot going on, and we're trying to wrap a lot of things up. But it's all good for everybody. Lots of new stuff coming, new programs, new classes, everything. So we hope to see you out here soon. But come out here when the weather is just a little bit better. we've had a pretty fantastic string of CCW and NRA basic pistol classes this spring. We just had a class over the last weekend here, first weekend of May, and big class. We had 12 people in that class, and boy, it was just a ton of fun. And part of what made it fun was because um, that class had a really good mix of novice and not necessarily advanced, but some more intermediate shooters in it that really just wanted to get have an opportunity to get some more training and learn more. It also, we had a great mix of both men and women in that class, and it gave us an opportunity to get kind of views and some thoughts on kind of how things were done from a safety perspective and just some different opinions. And it just made it was a ton of fun. And we all really enjoyed it. Everybody passed their CCW, which is great. A lot of folks passed their NRA qualification, which is also fantastic. Another thing that was really great for me as an instructor was just about everybody in the class was asking about how to further their training, whether you further it with us or somebody else. Of course, we always recommend, as you get beyond kind of the basics, invest some time in doing some classes. We have some classes here this fall. We have a red dot class that's coming up, and we have a drill class, a drill weekend. So it's about 10 hours over a weekend, all drills. And those classes will be coming up in the fall. And we also have an NRA RSO. So that's the Range Safety Officer certification. That's coming up July 19th. And hey, if you remember, that class is only $25. It's basically, we're just covering the cost of the materials. And we do that for members because, coming out here and being at the range, we'd love for you to have RSO certification. It just makes you a safer shooter and a safer member. If you're a non-member, it's still available to you. Just the price is a little bit higher. So those are things that are all coming up this fall. Wahlberg stand's going to be open very soon. As I just said, we're hauling in a lot of materials, and here during the month of May, we're definitely going to get everything put together for that, get all landscaping done, get the machine set, and get that working for you. So that'll be coming up here pretty soon. And so in this episode, I just simply leave you with the thought that consequences matter and words matter, and we should all take some time to really think about both of those things and make some decisions on whether or not our preconceived notions are truthful, and allow that to guide how we interact with our fellow people right now.